Okay, in this section, I will go over some of the fundamental elements of your Algebra 2 class, kind of to refresh your memory a little bit and prepare you for this class. So I'm not going to go into depth into any of the sections. I mean, this video is not supposed to teach you something you've already gone over in previous algebra classes. It's only supposed to be kind of a quick review to catch you up to speed. So let's get started. First section is called evaluating an algebraic expression. So let's say you're given an expression that looks something like this: 5x plus 3 minus 2yx, and you're supposed to use x equals 3 and y equals -2. Okay, so how do you do this one? Well, the only thing you do is you plug in, wherever it says x, you plug in a 3. Wherever it says y, you plug in a -2. So we have 5x, which is going to turn out to be 5 times 3, since x equals 3, plus 3 minus 2, and then times y, which is equal to -2, and then times x, which is equal to 3. So times 3. Okay, now it's just a basic algebraic expression, and we just we just multiply this out and we get to our answer. So 15 plus 3 minus 2 times -2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So we're going to get to positive 12. And this is going to equal 30. Okay. Now, something to watch out for when we're evaluating expressions like this is when you're given something that looks like this, with a second degree equations, third degree equations, and so on. And you're supposed to use negative numbers instead as x and y. So x equals -2. Let's say y is equal to -3. Okay, so what you need to watch out for here is when you plug in the -2 in here and the -3 in here. Okay, so 4 times -2 squared. Okay, we plug in x, plug in -2 instead of x. Okay, so there's a difference between doing this and doing this. Okay, those are two completely different equations. Okay, now -2 squared and -2 in parentheses squared equals two different things. -2 squared equals -4, and -2 in parentheses squared actually equals +4. So just remember to keep this in mind, and be careful when you run into these types of problems. So the correct way of doing it is like this, with the parentheses. And always use parentheses when you're doing problems like this. It just makes it easier in the long run anyway. -2 times y, another parentheses, replace it by 3, -3 squared plus 5. Okay, and now we just solve this. So we're going to get 4, -2 squared, like I mentioned, is +4, minus 2, -3 squared, in parentheses, equals +9 plus 5. Okay, we're going to get to 16 minus 18 plus 5. And that's going to give us +3, if I'm not mistaken. So next section is combining like terms. So what does that mean, combining like terms? Well, it's a pretty straightforward process where you just combine terms that contains the same type of elements. So let's say we have 4m plus 3m minus 2n minus 5m. Okay, so pretty straightforward. You can only combine like terms. So m can only be combined with m. Okay, so we have 3m's here. 3m's to the first degree. Remember, there's a 1 here, but it's understood that there's a 1, so it's never written out. Okay, so we can only combine like terms the same degree. Okay, so 4 plus 3 minus 5. Okay, so we have 7m right over here minus 5m. Okay, which equals 2m. So 2m, and then the negative 2n just hangs out over here. Oh, sorry, 2n just hangs out over here because there are no other n's in this equation. So this would be your final answer right here. Something to kind of keep in mind and or watch out for when you're working with these type of expressions is when you have a little more complicated problems, like this one, for instance. Minus 2y squared x squared plus 6. Let's just leave that 6 out and just go x squared y squared. Okay, something to keep in mind here, or kind of watch out for, is expressions that look the same but they're in different orders. So this expression and that expression looks kind of similar, right? But it's in a different, but they're, you know, flipped around. They're in a different order. So what do we do about that? Well, these expressions are actually the same, so we can combine these. These are like terms. This is just the same as saying 5 times 4 is actually equal to 4 times 5, right? It's the same thing. They both equal 20. X squared times y is the same as saying y times x squared. So in whatever order they are, the most important thing is that the variable is in the same degree, to the power of the same thing, so to speak. That's the most important thing, or that is the important thing to keep in mind. So we have 3x squared y's plus 5 yx squareds. Okay, so 3 of these and 5 of these, which means 8 in total. And it doesn't matter if I write x squared first or y first. Then we look at these two. Well, we have the same type of problem here. The y's are before the x's and the other way around here. Well, like I said, these two are exactly the same. Doesn't matter in what order they're written, as long as they're multiplied together. So we have negative 2 of these, and how many of these do we have? Well, there's actually 1 here, right? It's not stated because it's already understood. So negative 2 of these plus 1 of these is going to equal negative 1 of those. And like I said, the negative 1 is never written out, so this would be your final answer.